Pablo Picasso, Revolution in Art. Born on October 25, 1881 in Malaga, Spain, and died on April 18, 1973, Melbourne, France. Pablo Picasso was baptized as Pablo Diego José Francisco de Paula Juan Nepomuceno de los Remedios Crispinianos de la Santísima Trinidad. His mother's name was María Picasso y López. Father's name was Don José Ruiz y Blasco. At age 7, Picasso received formal artistic training from his father in figure drawing and painting with oils. In 1895, Picasso was traumatized when his 7-year-old sister, Conchita, died of diphtheria. Picasso's father and uncle decided to send young artists to Madrid's Royal Academy of San Fernando. At age 16, Picasso set off on his own for the first time, but he disliked formal instruction and quit classes soon after enrollment. During the first 5 months of 1901, Picasso lived in Madrid, where he and his anarchist friend Francisco de Asís Soler founded the magazine Arte Joven, Young Art, which published five issues. The first issue was published on March 31st, 1901, by which time the artist had started to sign his work simply Picasso, while before he had signed Pablo Ruiz y Picasso. By 1905, Picasso became a favorite of American art collectors Leo and Gertrude Stein. Gertrude Stein became Picasso's principal patron, acquiring his drawings and paintings and exhibiting them in her formal saloon at her home in Paris. In 1907, Picasso joined an art gallery that had recently been opened in Paris by Daniel Henry Kenwheeler. In the early 20th century, Picasso divided his time between Barcelona and Paris. In 1904, in the middle of a stormy day, he met Fernande Olivier, a Bohemian artist who became his mistress. Olivier appears in many of his rose paintings. After acquiring some fame and fortune, Picasso left Olivier for Marcel Humbert, whom he called Eva Go-Well. Picasso was devastated by her premature death from illness at the age of 30 in 1915. In the summer of 1918, Picasso married Olga Koklova, a ballerina, with Sergei Diaghilev's troupe, for whom Picasso was designing a ballet, Parade. They had a son named Paulo. After their honeymoon in the villa near Biarritz of the glamorous Chilean art patron Eugenia Errázuriz. In 1927, Picasso met 17-year-old Mary Therese Walter and began a secret affair with her. Picasso's marriage to Koklova soon ended in separation rather than divorce, as French law required an even division of property in case of divorce, and Picasso did not want Koklova to have half his wealth. The two began legally married until Koklova's death in 1955. During the Second World War, Picasso remained in Paris while the Germans occupied the city. Around this time, Picasso took up writing as an alternative outlet. Between 1935 and 1959, he wrote over 300 poems. In 1944, after the liberation of Paris, Picasso began a romantic relationship with a young art student named François Gillot, who was 40 years younger than he was. Eventually, they had 2 children, Claude and Paloma. In 1949, Gillot wrote a book about Picasso's abusive treatment. Taking the children with her, she left him. Later on, Picasso met Jacqueline. Picasso and Jacqueline Ruth got married and had constructed a huge Gothic home and could afford large villas in the south of France at Notre-Dame-de-Vie on the outskirts of Moguins, and in the Province Alpes Côte d'Azur. He was an international celebrity, and there was often as much interest in his personal life as his art. He died on April 8, 1973, while he and his wife Jacqueline entertained friends for dinner. His final words were, "Drink to me, drink to my health, you know I can't drink anymore." He was entombed at the Château of Vaunergaz near Aix-en-Provence, and property he had acquired in 1958 and occupied with Jacqueline between 1959 and 1962. 10 of Picasso's famous paintings. Number 1. The Blind Man's Meal, painted in Barcelona in the autumn of 1903. Number 2. The Kiss, painted in 1969. Number 3. Garcon a la Pipe, painted in 1905 as an oil on canvas. Number 4. Weeping Women, painted in 1937. Number 5. The Family of Saltimbancas, painted in 1904 through 1906. Number 6. Minotaur with a javelin and woman hostage, painted in 1934. Number 7. Portrait of Ambroise Vollard, painted in 1910 as an oil on canvas. Number 8. The Charnel House, painted in 1945. Number 9. Jacqueline in Studio, painted in 1957. Number 10. Three Musicians, painted in 1921 in Fontainebleau near Paris, France. Picasso co-founded the Cubist movement and changed the way the world views art. In doing so, he opened doors and eyes.